allow me to enjoy a nice craft root beer with you after a day in the yard. But as far as watering goes, I've recorded this video a couple times, not exactly knowing what to say. So I'm a guy who likes exact numbers. I want to know exactly how much I need to water, whether it's a specific amount of time or a specific amount of water that my yard needs to receive, whether it's a quarter of an inch, so forth and so on. But that's the thing, where a lot of it is like seed and stuff, you can throw it out as long as there's no piles. You're fine. More organic fertilizers, you can do the same thing. Now the synthetic stuff, it needs to be a little more of an exact science, because if you put too much, you're going to get the burn, the lawn burn. So, but for watering, it's not an exact science. It's either you're not getting enough, or you're getting too much, or you're just right. Those aren't amounts. The only way, and this is what I realized, the only way you're going to know that is by actually going in the yard and putting hands to soil. I watched a video from GCI Turf Services, because they specialize in turf type tall fescue. So I was seeing how much water does he put on his yard. He said he can't give you a right answer because each house is built on a different type of lot, different type of soil. Here in Tennessee, I have red clay. I'm also built up on a hill. In the same neighborhood, there's a lot of flat lots. So the flat lots with the red clay are going to react to watering differently than my red clay on a hill. And the only way I'm going to know is I'm getting too much water or not enough is actually touch the yard, touch the soil, and see if it's dry or too wet. He also said, his name is Pete, he also said that if you aerate your yard, leave the cores, because the cores can tell you if you're getting too much or not enough water. If your cores are bone dry, you're obviously not getting enough. Especially here in Tennessee, if your cores are malleable like clay, you're getting just enough water, or you're getting enough water. If your cores are just disintegrating right away, you're getting too much water. And so at first I found on YouTube, just twice a day for 10 to 15 minutes a day. So I started with that. That was a good starting point. I realized that, especially in my front yard, the areas near the sprinklers, plenty of water, perfect. But maybe touch too much. There's also areas where it's sloshy because for some reason that area retains water a little bit differently. I'm not sure why. I gotta figure that out. But then there's other areas that were bone dry, and actually the majority of the areas, they weren't bone dry, but they weren't getting enough water, where the cores, even after 15 minutes of watering, were still relatively hard. But the only way I would know that is to get out in the yard and touch it and put hands to soil. Relying on YouTube just telling me twice a day for 15 minutes each session, if I just sat there and left it with that, I wouldn't be seeing the results I'm seeing now. I mean, you're going to see here in a minute, I'm getting some pretty good growth, but I wouldn't have gotten that growth if I just trusted twice a day for 15 minutes, because a lot of my lawn would not be getting enough water. So I saw, by putting hands to soil, all right, I'm not getting enough water in these areas, move my sprinklers around. Don't just sit back and trust what YouTube says. Get out there, get your hands dirty. You've already started that anyway by overseeding and getting dirty, doing all that kind of stuff. Keep getting dirty, keep getting in the lawn, touching that soil, and see what it's doing. And it will tell you if it's getting too much water or not enough water. This is the strip. It's just a small sliver that goes along my driveway to my fence. And this side is struggling a little more than the lawn with germination. And as I said before, I don't blame really anything other than the slope of the yard. It is downhill. There is where the the gutter drains down under the ground, and it comes out sort of in this area here. And so last week we had 3 days of just solid rain. So just a lot of water came and just pushed the seed down here and then out into the street. So I believe I had a lot of wash away. I am getting some germination, but just not as much as I am on the front lawn. So this is an area right here where I'm struggling, and that's only because this is where you can just sort of see right here. There's another part up here where it's just, you can tell water has come and pushed like the peat moss and some of the topsoil I put down and some of the seed, and just sort of pushed it all down this way, and then it went off into the driveway, into the street. So all my seed kind of like just falling up toward that gutter, drain is, it just sort of came all down here and pushed all my seed away. So I don't have any rain in the next couple of days, or actually the next couple weeks, so I'm going to put some more seed down in this area and see if I can't get some growth here. The strip is giving me some problem areas. The one thing I'm not having any problems with is growing onions. Plenty of wild onion. But I'm not too concerned about that. When we get the first freeze, it'll die off, and I'll put some pre-emergent down and see if that doesn't take care of it. So this is a happy area right here. Got a lot of good growth here, the fescue. So I'm really pleased with this area and how it's just popped up. Do got some weeds here. I think this is nuts. I think this is called nutsedge or crabgrass. I'm not sure. But I do have some of this still popping up. But I'm going to do that because I didn't treat for weeds at all. But a lot of good growth here. It's already overshadowing some of the weeds down here, so I'm hoping as it grows it's going to overshadow these weeds and it's going to kill a lot of these weeds off and give them a hard time growing. But I am happy with this area on the front lawn. Came back from vacation and saw this. Heart jumped for joy. Really pleased with how much growth I have here. But I do have a lot of really good growth here on the front lawn. As you can see, there's the 2 sprinklers set up. I have one right there and one back there. I'm actually going to move the hose up behind the bushes by the house. But as you can see, I am battling a lot of onion. I think that's from putting the Milorganite down. It just sort of fed all that onion. But I am getting a lot of really good fescue growth in here, which just makes me pleased. I do have a couple problem areas, especially up there by the house. It just retains water too much, and it just really holds on the water up there. So I think it's just giving it a hard time for the grass to grow up there. But just down here, there's still some bald areas, but it's a work in progress. It's not going to be perfect overnight. It's not going to be perfect on this first try of the fall, season. So I'm just going to keep watering it, keep it in a little, like maybe in a week or two, I'll actually get a little mow in. The first mow with this new grass, but there's a lot of good fescue growth throughout. And the fescue growth looks really green and pretty, so I'm really pleased about that. But I did find an ugly thing when I came back from vacation. This is a problem area where I'm not seeing a whole, I am seeing some. There's plenty of fescue growing, but this is also where I had a lot of Bermuda popping up. So I did cut the Bermuda down. The Bermuda did not like getting scalped at all. So the fescue has a really good chance, and I am seeing a lot of fescue popping up. It's just not as heavy as in some areas, so I don't know if the seed didn't germinate, but it is also a slope that also came down and went to the road. So I'm wondering if that pushed some seed out of the way. So I may come back when I overseed a little more on that area, on the strip. I may come over here and just throw another little layer of seed down, a little bit more Milorganite, and see if I can't get some more growth in this area. But this is just like the only area that goes up that I'm struggling with. Like, there's still weeds, plenty of weeds to go around, but there's still a lot of good growth even in the weeded areas. Nice little patch growing right here. A nice little strip. I think that's where I had the edge guard on the spreader down, and so just put a little strip right there. But that's okay. I'm not going to complain. But that whole area, you can see, is just where seed would get pushed out of the way naturally. So put a little more seed down there. It's not super dry, but it is. It's not getting as much water. So I may have to move the sprinklers down a little bit to get some water in this area. I just actually had the water going in this area for 10 minutes, and it's dry, so I'm wondering if this area just did not get as much water as the rest, which actually would make sense because it kind of just sweeps like that. So this area is just not receiving it well, so I'm just thinking this area did not get enough water. So I may have to change where that sprinkler is. Maybe push it down this way some more. But look at this dude. Boom! Look at the size of that sucker. About the size of my hand. That's still not my property line. I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed by that. It's so huge. That's what she said. This is the area that had all the rocks. The rocky spot. I had to break up, put Patchmaster down. I think I went a little bit too heavy on the Patchmaster. I am getting some good growth right here. getting some pretty decent. It's a little bit sparse, but even like on the hill coming down, I don't know if you can see it that well. They got a lot of stuff popping up. But in the Patchmaster area, like I said, it could still just be it's just hard rock. It's not going to grow seed. I don't know. I'm going to keep trying though, because I have some popping up, but I do feel like maybe I put the Patchmaster down too thick here. And this is the big area. As you can see, there is a lot there, but it's very, very spotty. So I'm wondering if I just put the Patchmaster down too thick. As I said, I am really pleased when coming back from vacation. I see this level of growth on a seed that typically takes, they said, 10 to 14 days, 10 to 18 days for a turf type tall fescue to germinate, and I had it in like less than a week. I think I had it in like 5 days, 4 or 5 days. I come back to this and it's been 8 days and I have all this growth. It's really promising. By continuing, I'm gonna put a little more seed down in some of the problem areas. Some more Milorganite. I don't have any sprays to put down, like spray type fertilizer, like I think it's called like NXT or NEX. I think is what it's called, like aerate and all these other, like humic acid and all this stuff. I don't have the money to pay $60 per jug for it, but just by putting Milorganite, a little bit more seed and watering, I'm hoping I can really push some more growth. And then at the end of fall, I'll put a pre-emergent down. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. If not, definitely at the beginning of spring, you put some pre-emergent down. So when the winter cold temperatures kill off the weeds, you put the pre-emergent down. It stops some of the weeds from coming back up. But then you push the grass, and the grass will overpower what weeds do show up. So I'm hoping that works, but I am really pleased with how the front lawn has grown. The strip, I'm happy that there is grass growing. I'm just not pleased that didn't realize how bad that slope was, and with the gutter there, and how it's just really pushed all that seed away. But so that's it for this video. I'm actually going to finish off this Boylan's birch beer, and then I'm going to go back in the backyard and get some work done. So I hope you guys are learning something from these last couple of videos, because you're sort of watching me as I go. I'm not a professional. I'm just an everyday Joe, and there's other people that are just like this on YouTube that they're not, or don't come from a lawn care profession. They are everyday Joes, and they're sort of just doing this because they want to just make their lawn grow. So I'm just doing what I've seen on YouTube or the guides that I've downloaded. I'm just throwing stuff to the wall and seeing if it sticks. And so hopefully, you guys are either learning from my successes or you're learning from my failures. So far, I have a weed problem in my yard, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just concerned about pushing the new growth. And then, in the winter months, the weeds will die off. Put a pre-emergent down in the spring, stop them from coming back up, most of them from coming back up, and then pushing the good grass to continue to grow in that time. So as far as watering goes, like I said, just get out there and get muddy. Touch the ground and see if you're getting too much or not enough water, or too much water or not enough water. Just go out there and see. Like, there's no exact science. No one can tell you have to water 10 minutes a day, a couple times a day, because that may not be enough where you are. Maybe your ground is too hard, and different types of soil, doesn't retain water very well, so it just sort of slides off. So just get out there and get dirty. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys, like I said, hope you guys are learning something, and I'll see you guys on the next one. God bless.